So far, I have done an excellent job of avoiding any comment from President-elect Trump. I do not need any additional confirmation that he is, in Sean Hannity's words, quote, batshit crazy, end quote. Also know, based on Trump's prior history, that any statement made by him is most likely false or at best misleading. There will be no restraint on Trump acting on his worst impulses when he becomes president. All of this was known or should have been known by everyone who voted for him to give him another 4 years as president. So I will not be rewarding those people with my purchases of goods or services. I will continue that boycott for as long as I live. I've also cut my discretionary spending in 2025 by over 2,000 so far by canceling mostly subscriptions and have bought this month enough non-perishable supplies for another 2 years. Avoiding contact with Trump's statements is also necessary for my own health. Trump is the primary conveyor of brain pollution and fake news living in the world today. And I need to think clearly when making investment decisions in response to what he will do. And I am fairly convinced that I know now what those actions will be. No one should be surprised that Trump picked Matt Gaetz as his Attorney General, a Fox News host as the Defense Secretary, or the South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem as Homeland Secretary, etc., and so on. All of his appointees are, of course, unqualified, unless being a servile and fawning Trump cult member who praises him effusively and never utters a word of criticism of the Messiah, no matter what he does or tries to do, is considered qualifications for a cabinet or other high-level position in an administration. Trump's selections do indicate to me that he will follow through on what he said he would do, including seeking retribution against his critics. America deserves Donald Trump. I am more confident now than I was shortly after Election Day that these fools will end up leaving economic wreckage, social upheaval, and more divisiveness in their path, and will do permanent damage to the U.S. standing in the world. I am still in a stock selling mode. I've been selling into the stock rally that occurred after the election results were known. While the CPI report today was favorable, the bond ghouls are signaling that Trump's policies, if implemented, will result in higher inflation, which is my prediction as well. That prediction has nothing to do with my opinion about Donald Trump, but only my opinion about what his policies will do to the U.S. economy. That is reflected in the persistent increase in yields across the Treasury maturity spectrum, starting with the 2-year Treasury note through the 30-year Treasury bond. The Fed is still controlling the short end of the curve by the federal funds rate cuts. If there's another 25 basis point cut in the federal funds rate at the Fed's December meeting, which is currently the more probable than not prediction made in the federal funds futures contracts, that may very well be the last cut in the current cycle, assuming Trump implements his policies. And would then be followed by a rate hiking cycle starting in late 2025 or early 2026, unless Trump is successful in appointing stooges, his stooges to the Federal Reserve Board, where their response to higher inflation would be to engage in more monetary stimulus by lowering rates, leading to even higher inflation. One reason among many for the higher problematic inflation in 2021 and 2022 was the Federal Reserve keeping extremely stimulus monetary policies in effect, including ZIRP and QE, and did not respond at all until March of 2022 to the higher inflation numbers. Another reason for the higher inflation numbers was the pandemic and the supply chain problems created by that pandemic. And the similar kind of supply chain problems will occur when Trump starts his mass deportation of illegal migrants who perform vital tasks in the supply chain process in the United States now. More will be known about the inflationary GDP impacts from Trump's policies when he actually starts implementing them, including increasing tariffs, which are inflationary, and are regressive taxes that will be paid by his middle and lower income supporters. The mass deportation of U.S. consumers who are undocumented immigrants and who now fill jobs critical to the U.S. supply chain. The impoundment of funds approved by Congress, which Trump has said that he would do, and the repeal of spending legislation that the Republicans do not like. An example would be all funds related to climate change initiatives. GDP growth will slow in response to those policies being implemented and potentially turn negative, and inflation will increase as well, stagflation, if all of those actions are implemented by Trump, and that's my current prediction.